the key to answer to the question, of course, sometimes go this way or sometimes go that way a little bit, but the key is like how much I really can enjoy while I'm doing something. A lot later than when I started try to be an artist, and I think everybody's issue to find out what kind of like professional like fits to the person who try to find the like way to live, right? It wasn't like until very long time ago, and to find probably between the people there are many ways to find what really fits to me. I realized there was from my experience that after I quit my job in Korea, I had a few years between time that I arrived here after I quit my job as an like accountant. It was a really stressful time, like it's not really working as what other people do. It gave me a lot of stress. But one time I calmed down and tried to like make it more like a clear thoughts, like where I'm going and what I want to do. All of a sudden I realized that I really enjoy working with the trees. Like cut tree is bad idea many times, but cut tree and make it something with my hand. I realized that I did play that a lot when I was like after 7, between like 11, 12 years old. So played again as an adult person, like a little child. I found like a really perfect, the Y-shaped branch, and then I just dried out completely and just carved with a little knife over time for many days. Just carved and sanded it down, and eventually when I was doing it, it's just such a pleasure, something like a very enjoyable time. I believe many people, like just regular people or artists, once I start something to be somebody like a mechanic or artist or writer, that moment probably like we can think like, oh, I became a mechanic or I became an artist, something. But I just kept, since I started my artist job, I never felt that way. It's just a constant adventure, difficulties, and giving it up or not, and all this like crazy thing happening. During that time, the focus, where I wanted to go, and what I really, really want, I just keep asking the question 1,000 times, like in this over 25 years time in New York City. The first thing, the most important thing is like where I am. I mean, in terms of my concern and like what I see in the society, what that time, like what's happening around. It really affects to design my piece. And the second of all, the structure of the actual space, and where is that located, and how it's shaped in the building or outside of the building. That really, really important part. Some space very plain and usually like new buildings, inside of new building or very formal commercial buildings, and that one I really most of the time I need to think a lot to work with that formal space. And some other space like very non-traditional factory-like or that some reason that's a lot easier than like a formal shaped building. So that structure of the building space is very, very important. What their region is look like and what they dealing with most important, mostly concerned or like what culture exists there, and all those can be ingredient for my design. So those physicality of the actual space and the environment will translate it inside of me as a like very psychological way. It's just a constant thinking, and even during the like constructing the piece, sometimes it changes a little bit, but mostly like a major structure will remain as what I thought in the beginning. The sky ceiling was a very good, and then rest of the spaces was a very, very difficult. A lot of like try to bring like some energy for this design from the surrounding environment in the city town. But in that title, is my hope something about like really we find in people in general, not just a few people, many percentage of people find something we really care or we really want, and rather than like a lot of this wealth thing, it's more like rich, in psychological rich, and having a little more peace, and finding that kind of aspect. But as I said, I really, this pandemic period, I thought about that so much. Mm-hmm. And that's why I read about this more than 2,000 years old text written in China, like how we find the like very perfectness. In the beginning, where I was developing this piece, I thought about all those like a canon of making art, and certain like a form that has to be more like a completed, and the people, meantime, like people keep giving me reaction, and a lot of people's idea that I see that kind of like some of them, like a lot of them, like traditional perspective about art. It came from like all this like their experience that from all other great art pieces. These days, although maybe it looked similar from the one from now to the past, the one that I did in the past. Parts big and some parts are very small, but it's a lot about like constantly evolving and try to be free from previously conceived, like constantly go through in my life. Like, it has that kind of the similar the quality.
What is so unique about your sculpture is that the piece itself retains the immediacy of a drawing. That's what appeals to me when I saw your original sketches, and then to see it, it still kind of has that gestural quality to it. So the 2D kind of corresponds to the 3D, and there's a beautiful lyrical quality and freedom to the piece. It's elegant, yet humble, fragile, yet strong. It's static, yet it's in motion. And it's sort of a perfect binary system.
People are asking me that question a lot. And if I want to be asked to choose just one artist, that's a very difficult question. Like I enjoyed like classical music when I was in 20s, and then just mostly like American like sweet pops. And then like where I was in school, art school in Manhattan, I drove down to Memphis and to get the fried chicken, famous fried chicken there. And so I drove like 2 days or something. And then I went the Rock and Roll Museum. And then for the first time, I seriously contacted all those lyrics of blues music and the southern, like those
Blues?
yeah, blues music, and the lyric drove me like really, really crazy, and I thought it's unbelievably well described. Next day, I drove down a little further to Mississippi, and I saw the like sea of the cotton field, and it just really, rather than just looking at it, I immediately thought about those musicians. Mm-hmm. What could they possibly think and enjoy while they're working in that like endless sea of the field? And from that time, I started to collect like hundreds of lyrics from like some music that I like, and that became a lot of my psychological the motivation for making art. Like people getting from the art is some kind of like a impact and relief. Mm-hmm. They're sharing some kind of things in art. Mm-hmm. Actually, I really try to promote like very good yellow colors, and because it's just a lot of hopeful, like try to push a lot of hopeful energy. There is some art piece that like a very simple one figure thing gives like just a perfect connotation and impact concept. That's more like a conceptual art aspect, and I have been struggling so much, like try to get that part, but still I haven't been able to grab that part. So that makes always I'm like very weak and imperfect in terms of creating art. I think it's my my goal or something that I just compromise that idea between that idea and my current practice.